what is the most valuable and highest paid work that you do? And the answer is thinking.
The ability to focus. Very important. The ability to focus, as we've said and we'll say over again, is the absolute critical requirement for success. People say, geez, I don't know if I can be as successful as other people are because they have more advantages and more benefits and more intelligence and so on. Don't you believe it. A person who is focused, of average intelligence, can run circles around a person who is a genius who doesn't have the focus. That is why people come out of the universities with PhD degrees and with master's degrees and with sometimes 5, 10, 15 years of advanced education, and they can barely make a living, and other people quit school in grade 10 and grade 11, and they come out of school and 5 or 10 years later they have their own successful businesses. It's not the basic talents, although talents are important and education is important. It's the ability to focus the talents that you have like an arrow, if you like a sniper, to be able to hit specific targets. And that's why you don't have to think of yourself in terms of limitations.
Focus. Focus is the key to your success. That's why I'm so concerned about I call it the attraction of distraction. It is so disturbing because it guarantees failure in life. You actually become addicted to distraction and you can't stop it. You're just like a dope addict. You've got to have your distraction. And if you're addicted to distraction, you can't focus. And if you can't focus, you haven't got a chance against someone who can. And so therefore, I'm hitting this a little bit hard, but I want you to think about it because most people slip into this attraction of distraction and we're not even aware of it. You haven't even really thought about how much time you spend during the day distracted. And the answer is about 80%. According to a recent report, every time that you respond to a new impulse and a new distraction, by the end of 2 or 3 hours, the brain is so flooded with dopamine that they're incapable of concentrating on anything, that it stimulates your mind so much that what happens, every stimulus triggers dopamine, and dopamine has the same effect as cocaine on your brain. It's a stimulus, and you get addicted to this dopamine stimulus, and you cannot not surround yourself with stimuli. In order to get yourself out of the comfort zone, they found that if I like to use an example like this. When Warren Bennis did his study called Leaders, which was one of the best-selling book on leadership of the 90s, they'd studied 93 leaders, and they studied them for 5 years to find out what qualities they had that made them different. And they were completely different industries, and they found there were 5. And one of them was they refused to get stuck in a comfort zone. And so what they did is they would get into a comfort zone. We say the only difference between a comfort zone and a rut is the depth. No, between a rut and a grave is the depth. And when they would get into this comfort zone very quickly, and the only way they could get out is by using a grappling hook, if you like, and throwing a grappling hook up to pull themselves out of the comfort zone, and it was always a big goal. And so what you do is by creating a big goal, you're forced out of your comfort zone because you cannot stay at your current level of performance and set a big goal for yourself. The goal forces you to think bigger, which is why we talked about putting a 0 at the end of your income goal. It forces you. There's no way that you can achieve that doing what you're now doing. You're going to have to do something different, and you're going to have to do it in a different place in a different way. So we say there are 2 great powers that control everything that happens to you. The first is the power of love. The power of love is the greatest power in our lives. It's been said that everything we do is either to get love or to compensate for lack of love. From the time we are children, moving from discomfort toward comfort, moving from pain toward pleasure, we're always striving to get the unconditional love and affection and respect of the people who are most important to us. And remember I said earlier that we strive for all of our adult life to compensate for what we felt we were deprived of as children. The second great power that controls everything that happens to you is the power of suggestion. And you and I are inordinately suggestive in that we're constantly affected by the suggestive elements in our world. Everything counts. Every single word we hear, every conversation we have, every song we listen to or news story, everything we read has an effect on us, and it's helping us or hurting us. Everything counts. Everything counts. If I were to say to you, geez, there's some great research. It says that if you eat really, really healthy foods, you're going to feel much better and have more energy and sleep better, and your skin will be better and your digestion will be better and everything else if you eat really, really good foods. Did you know that? You'd say, come on, give us a break. We've known that for 50 years. We know what we should eat, we just don't eat it because we like delicious things. And really good foods are not always delicious. So, of course we know that, but if I were to say that everything that you take into your mind affects your personality and your temperament and your self-confidence and your goals and your clarity and your intelligence, it has a profound transforming effect, you'd say, wow, that's an interesting thought. Everything you take into your physical body affects you physically, everything you take into your mind affects you mentally and emotionally, and it affects the results that you get in life.
You are at this moment the sum total of your thoughts to this point, for there is nothing else you can be. And 5 years from now, you can be and have anything you set your entire mind and heart upon.
So decide now. What is it you want? Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you ever make in your entire life. What is it you want? Do you want to be an outstanding salesman? A better worker at your particular job? Do you want to go places in your company? In your community? Do you want to get rich? All you've got to do is plant that seed in your mind, care for it, work steadily toward your goal, and it will become a reality. It not only will, there's no way that it cannot.
Secondly, it's cutting away all the fetters from the mind and permitting it to soar as it was divinely designed to do. It's the realization that your limitations are self-imposed and that the opportunities for you today are enormous beyond belief. It's rising above narrow-minded pettiness and prejudice. Thirdly, to use all your courage to force yourself to think positively on your own problem, to set a definite and clearly defined goal for yourself, to let your marvelous mind think about your goal from all possible angles, to let your imagination speculate freely upon many different possible solutions, to refuse to believe there are any circumstances sufficiently strong to defeat you in the accomplishment of your purpose, to act promptly and decisively when your course is clear, and to keep constantly aware of the fact that you are, at this moment, standing in the middle of your own acre of diamond.
Have you ever wondered why so many men work so hard and honestly without ever achieving anything in particular, and others don't seem to work hard and yet seem to get everything? They seem to have the magic touch. You've heard them say that about someone. Everything he touches turns to gold. And have you ever noticed that a man who becomes successful tends to continue to become successful? And on the other hand, have you noticed how a man who's a failure tends to continue to fail? Well, it's because of goals. Some of us have goals, some don't. People with goals succeed because they know where they're going. It's that simple. Think of a ship leaving a harbor, and think of it with the complete voyage mapped out and planned. The captain and crew know exactly where it's going and how long it'll take. It has a definite goal. Now, 9,999 times out of 10,000, it will get to where it started out to get. Now, let's take another ship, just like the first, only let's not put a crew on it or a captain at the helm. Let's give it no aiming point, no goal, no destination. We just start the engines and let it go. I think you'll agree with me that if it gets out of the harbor at all, it will either sink or wind up on some deserted beach, a derelict. It can't go anyplace because it has no destination and no guidance, and it's the same with a human being.
I want you to write on a card what it is you want more than anything else. It may be more money. Perhaps you'd like to double your income or make a specific amount of money. It may be a beautiful home. It may be success at your job. It may be a particular position in life. It could be a more harmonious family. Each of us wants something. Write down on your card specifically what it is that you want. Make sure it's a single goal and clearly defined. You needn't show it to anyone, but carry it with you so that you can look at it several times a day. Think about it in a cheerful, relaxed, positive way each morning when you get up, and immediately you have something to work for, something to get out of bed for, something to live for. As you look at it, remember that you must become what you think about. And since you're thinking about your goal, you realize that soon it will be yours. In fact, it's yours really the moment you write it down and begin to think about it. Don't concern yourself too much with how you're going to achieve your goal. Leave that completely to a power greater than yourself. All you have to do is know where you're going. The answers will come to you of their own accord.